Al-ibadah, worship in Islam, comes in various forms. So in this night, try as much as possible to look at what does the noble religion of Islam call worship to me. List them out and see how you can go over all of this throughout the night of Ramadan. Laylat al-Qadr khayrun min alfi shahr. Our worship in Islam, ibadah in Islam, is salah, your qiyam, your ta'ajud, you're waking up at night, being fearful of Allah. You're standing up to pray tarawih. It is worship. Imagine you praying at night, nawafil, qiyam al-layl, tahajjud at night. It is better than 83 years of worship. It is better for you than 1,000 months of worship. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has commanded this, that Ya ayyuhal muzammil qummi layla illa qalila nisfahu aw inqus minhu aw qalila aw zid alayhi wa ratil qur'ana tartila inna sanuki alayka qawlan sakila. Allahu akbar. Allah said, O Prophet, O Muzammil, qummi layla illa qalila, stand up at night for a little portion. If it's half of the day, if it's out of half of the night, or a little more, make sure you're reading the Quran. So worship in Islam, how can you gain the blessings, the barakah of this night? Is by standing up with fear, with taqwa, with power, with quwwah, with strength, with ability to do it. Standing up for the sake of Allah. With faith. But some say anyone who fasts Ramadan with faith, with iman, good for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will forgive all of his sin. Anyone who stand up at night to pray for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Prophet says Allah will forgive his sins in the month of Allah with iman, seeking Allah's faith, doing it for the sake of Allah. So in this blessed night of majesty, of Qadr, that is hidden away from us, anyone who stand to pray in the sight of Allah, looking at his Lord, what be wajihillah, he is doing just to seek the face of Allah, of his Lord, standing up with quwwah, with strength, with ability, with drill, with dedication, with that instinct that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is watching me, and I want to please my Lord. I want to see the face of Allah. On that day that the believers will be looking at the face of their Lord, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said their face will be bright and shining. So it's better for you to stand now looking at the face of Allah, although you cannot see Allah, but Allah, you know for sure that Allah is seeing you. So start processing it now, because on that day of judgment, Allah will reveal in paradise His own glance to the believers, and they will be looking at Allah with a bright face. Allah said they will look at me and their place will be calm, will be peaceful. So start by looking at the face of Allah, be wajihillah, in your qiyam al-layl, in your tarawih. This is how to gain the night better than khayrun min alfi shahr, better than thousands of months, and better than 83 years of worship. وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونِ. Allah has not created me and you except to give Allah His worship. To fulfill your purpose in this life is to worship Allah. It's not just for mere play. It's not the secondary. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, تَنَزَّلُ الْمَلَائِكَةُ وَهُوهُ فِيهَا بِإِذْنِ رَبِّهِ مِنْ كُلِّ أَمْرٍ سَلَامٌ هِيَّ حَتَّى مَطْلَعِ الْفَجْرِ. The Prophet said that man qama laylatul qadri imanan wa ihtisaban ghufira Allahu man taqaddama min dhanbihi. Prophet said, whoever stand in prayer during the night of al-Qadr, Laylatul Qadr, whoever stand in qiyam, in salah, in prayer, in the night of decree, the night of majesty, the night of power, the night of Qadr, anyone who stand, not just standing as I just want to stand to seek what is other than what is called faith. It stand with faith, with belief, with full iman, and he is expecting he is expecting the reward of Allah, the promise of his Lord, the promise of his noble Lord of Islam, The verse says, غُفِرَ اللَّهُ مَنْ تَقَدَّمَ مِنْ ذَنْبِهِ. Allah will forgive all of his past sins. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive all of our past sins. Ameen ya Rabbal Alameen. Verse says, فِيهِ لَيْلَةُ خَيْرٌ مِنْ أَلْفِ الشَّهْرِ مَنْ عُلِمَ خَيْرَهَا فَقَدْ عُلِمَ. The verse says, in it there is a night that is better than 1,000 months. Whoever is deprived of his goodness, then he is truly deprived. Meaning, anyone who wastes this night, who was not able to stand up, who was not able to perform worship, meaning he has wasted 83 years opportunity that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given. He has wasted 1,000 months of opportunity that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given him. My brothers and sisters in Islam, this is that night not to sleep too much, so you won't be deprived. But it's like whoever is deprived of this, he is indeed deprived. Allah has restricted him. As I was saying, worship in the sight of Allah is everything Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala call worship. Salah. Worship is salah, praying, standing up to pray. Worship is qiyam, standing to pray. Worship is sujood, going on upon sujood to beg Allah, to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Worship is tilawat, doing the tilawat of the Quran, recitation of the Quran in this night. After Isha, start reciting the Quran. Hatta, and one of the beauty of it is that Allah's Fajr. You have the opportunity till Fajr, till the call of the Fajr, till the dawn. Do every kind of worship that you can before that dawn, because during that dawn, Allah will return back the angels. And this is a night that the angels fill the earth, and there's no space for them. It's choking upon them. Majority of the angels will descend. Fear with in it is their rule, their leader, Malaika Jibreel. So we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Rabb of Islam, the Rabb of all mankind, whether you like it or not, whether you know it or not, whether you understand that He is our Lord of the Creator, He created everything, the universe, the globes, whether you know it or not, we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us among those who worship Him, full of ibadah in this night. And my brothers and sisters, one of the great worship of Islam, as mentioned, is zakat, sadaqah. And there are various forms of zakat, but what I want to emphasize on is that worship is sadaqah. Give in this night. Do charity in every single last night of Ramadan, so that it will be counted for you as though you have done charity for 83 years of your life. Give something. Spend something in those nights, because it is worship. In this night, let me give you other worship that you can do. Recite the Quran. Aside from praying with the Quran, pray with the Quran. Sit down and recite the Quran. Recite the askar, the phrases or praises that the Prophet gave to us. Subhanallah wa bihamdi. Recite it a lot. La ilaha illallah wa la sharika. Recite it a lot. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. Any askar that you know, just keep reciting it. And there's a very wonderful, very common phrase that the Prophet was told to have given us, is dua. Ad-dua. Dua is worship. You need to ask Allah for something. You make dua. You call upon Allah. It is worship. It's as though that you have worshipped Allah, call upon Allah for 83 years. Because ad-dua huwa ibadah. It is worship in and of itself to make dua. And one of the greatest dua that I will end is, inshallah, is Allahumma innaka afuwun tuhibbu afwa fa'fu anna. Allahumma innaka afuwun tuhibbu afwa fa'fu anna. Allahumma innaka afuwun tuhibbu afwa fa'fu anna. Oh Allah, you are forgiving. You are the most forgiving. You love to forgive. Forgive me. Oh Allah, you are most forgiving. And you love forgiveness. So forgive me. This dua should be recited across the night. Anytime you remember, just say Allahumma innaka afuwun. Say it with your heart being present. Don't just say it as a mere tone. Say it that your heart is being present, that you are a sinner. You are a sinner. You have committed sin. You're looking for tawbah. You're looking for Allah to accept you. Say it with full conviction. Allahumma innaka afuwun tu'ibbu afwa fa'fu anna. Allahumma innaka afuwun kareemun tu'ibbu afwa fa'fu anna. Say it with that conviction that Allah, I am a sinner. Indeed, Almighty Lord of Islam, innaka afuwun. I am seeking your pardon. Because you love to pardon. You love to pardon your slave. So make me among those whom you pardon. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to accept this as an act of ibadah. We're going to stop here, my brothers and sisters.